I didn't notice the eviction notice right away. I was too busy kicking my boots off and dropping onto the mattress I called a bed. I'd left my second job at 10:43 p.m., walked 2 miles because Devin had taken my car again, and by the time I dragged myself up the stairs of our 1-bedroom mold box, I just wanted 5 hours of sleep before my 6:30 a.m. shift at the gas station. The pink paper fluttered loose from the door as I closed it behind me. I read it twice, hoping it'd vanish. 3 days to vacate. 3 days to do what exactly? I hadn't had time to even pay the electric bill. How was I going to cough up $950 in change? Devin hadn't paid a cent of rent in 4 months. What he did do was take my card while I was at work, drain my account again, and leave a note on the microwave that just said, "Figure it out." He blocked me the next day. I tried to ignore the ache in my side, which had been getting worse since last week. Probably the cut from that shelf I busted while unloading boxes at the Quick Mart. I'd hoped it would heal on its own, but now it was red, hot to the touch, and leaking a fluid that smelled like something dead. So yeah, I wasn't thinking clearly when I walked into McDonald's at 1:03 a.m. It was the only place open, the only place I could sit in silence and pretend I still had control over something. I ordered a 6-piece nugget meal, large Coke, no ice, because ice took up cup space and I needed that caffeine. The cashier, some skinny kid with acne and earbuds, didn't even look at me. Just nodded, handed me a receipt, and turned back to his phone. I sank into a cracked vinyl booth with my food and let the tears slide down. No money, no apartment, no car, no antibiotics for the mess growing under my ribs. This was rock bottom, or so I thought. He slid into the seat across from me like he'd been invited. Didn't say excuse me. Just sat there, his tray thudding onto the table, his eyes fixed on mine. "Rough night?" he asked, voice deep and too calm. I wiped my face with a napkin. "You could say that." He was in his 30s, maybe early 40s. Looked like he stepped out of a truck stop poster. Stubble, faded leather jacket, oil-stained jeans. Except something felt wrong. His presence was too still, like he was waiting for something. Or hunting. "I'm Cole," he said, sticking out a hand. I didn't take it. He laughed like he expected that. He started talking about his ex. How she left. Him, how she used to push his buttons, how she paid for it. I half listened, more focused on the way the overhead lights glinted off the metal beside his burger. A butcher knife, just sitting there like it belonged. "People always think this town's safe," he said, dragging the knife through ketchup like it was gravy. "But no one's watching. Not really. Cameras here haven't worked in years." I glanced around. The kid behind the counter, Tyler, his name tag said, was watching TikToks. The parking lot outside was dark. "You remind me of her," he said suddenly. His eyes didn't match his smile. Pretty, trusting. I felt it in my gut, that panic like standing too close to the edge of a cliff. I stood up to leave. His hand snapped out and grabbed my wrist, his grip cold and iron hard. "Sit. Down." I didn't sit. I slammed my tray into his face. Nuggets and Coke exploded everywhere. He let go just for a second and I turned to run, but Cole was faster. I felt a tug at my ponytail, then my whole body jerked back like a rag doll. Pain ripped through my side. The blade caught me, shallow but sharp. I screamed. "Call 911, I shouted at Tyler. He looked up, dazed, then looked back down at his phone like it was just another TikTok prank. The ketchup knife, real, not some weird cosplay shit, gleamed as Cole stepped forward, grinning. Blood soaked into my work shirt. "I told you," he said. "No one's watching." That line triggered something. I kicked him as hard as I could between the legs. He dropped with a grunt, just enough time for me to stagger toward the doors, half limping, half running. The pain in my ribs screamed with every step. I could feel warm blood seeping into my waistband. I didn't think I'd make it. Then, tires screeched. Headlights cut across the dark lot. Tyler's beat-up Honda Civic slammed into Cole just as he reached the sidewalk. He went flying, rolled twice, and didn't get back up. The car door flew open. "Get in," Tyler yelled. I didn't think. I climbed in. The ER stitched me up, gave me antibiotics, and handed me a bill for $2,178. I handed them the last $800. In my account, the same money Devin hadn't touched yet. They still sent me to collections, no insurance, no job. Got fired for missing 2 shifts. Landlord changed the locks the next day. As for Tyler, corporate fired him for unauthorized use of company time and resources. Translation: hitting a predator with his own car didn't fit McDonald's brand image. Cole? Gone. Vanished. Cops showed up 45 minutes after the call, found his knife, his tray, even his fingerprints on my wrist. But no body, no arrest. Maybe it was a misunderstanding, they said. Tyler and I kept in touch for a week. We got fries once, talked about leaving Black Creek. Then his mom made him move in with an aunt out in Ohio. The night faded into rumor. A local Facebook group said I staged it for attention. I started keeping a bloodstained napkin in my wallet, one of the ones I used to stop the bleeding. Some days it reminds me I'm alive. Other days it reminds me no one's coming to save me. I go back to that McDonald's sometimes. Same booth, different nuggets. I never stay long. My side still aches when it rains. The infection left a mark. Raised skin, nerve pain. A shelter took me in for a while. Now I bounce between couches, apps for gig jobs, and sometimes I sleep on buses. Black Creek hasn't changed. The streetlights flicker. The ice cream machine's still down and the cameras still broken. I wonder if Cole ever found someone else. I wonder if next time they'll be too polite to kick him. When I think about that night, I don't feel brave. I feel lucky. Poverty doesn't give you room to be brave. It gives you choices. Fight or bleed quietly. I fought. And this town, this country, this world, it didn't care. But Tyler did. Just for 1 minute. And that minute saved my life. So I keep going. Because sometimes survival is the only protest you've got. They say when it rains, it pours. But for me, it didn't just pour. It dumped an ocean. 3 months ago, I dropped out of college. Couldn't afford tuition anymore, and my GPA was tanking anyway. I'd been skipping class to work double shifts at this rundown McDonald's, trying to keep up with car payments and help my dad with the bills. Not that he noticed. He's been glued to a bottle since Mom left 4 years ago. Last week, the repo guy came for my Honda Civic. I watched from behind the living room blinds as they towed it away. My last piece of freedom vanishing behind red taillights. My girlfriend Maddie called it the final straw. She broke up with me that night. Said I was sinking and she didn't want to drown too. Now I walk to work in the freezing cold, lugging a backpack full of greasy uniforms. My sneakers have holes. My feet are always wet. And tonight my manager Dave, always smug, always chewing toothpicks like he's some low-rent Clint Eastwood, cut my hours again, said I had an attitude problem. I'm 19, broke and mopping up ketchup stains in a fluorescent lit hellhole that smells like fryer oil and stale meat. It's just past 10, and I'm trying to finish mopping the back storage room so I can clock out and maybe find a bus home. If I'm lucky, Dad won't be passed out in his boxers on the couch when I get there. That's when I hear it. Pop, pop, pop. At first, I think it's just fireworks, or maybe a car backfiring out front. We're near 8 Mile and weird noises are nothing new around here. But then I hear Sarah scream, and that's when my gut drops. This ain't fireworks, it's a gun. I peek around the corner of the storage room just for a second. That's all it takes. Dave's on his knees near the register, arms raised like it's going to make a difference. Standing behind him is a guy, in a black hoodie and a ski mask, waving a pistol like he's done it before. The gun's aimed at Sarah, 17, still in high school, working the drive-thru after class to help her mom pay rent. Her eyes are wide and wet. Empty the register. Now, the guy yells, voice low but shaking with rage. Dave fumbles at the keys trying to unlock the till. Then, bang. It echoes through the whole restaurant. Dave collapses forward. His head hits the tile with a smack, and there's just this sudden awful red spreading around him. Sarah screams. I duck back into the storage room, nearly tripping over the mop bucket. My heart's thumping so loud I'm sure he can hear it from the dining room. My phone's in my locker, past the fryer and through. The break room, no chance of getting to it without him seeing me. The back exit, locked from the outside. Corporate policy, keeps people from sneaking out with McNuggets or bags of frozen fries. I grab the mop handle. It's not a weapon, not really, but it's all I've got. I crouch behind a stack of frozen beef patties, trying not to breathe. Footsteps, slow, measured, coming closer. I try to disappear into the cold metal shelves. My hands are shaking so bad I nearly knock over a box of fries. The door creaks open. He's in here. I press myself flat against the wall, barely breathing. The mop handle rests across my knees, the way I imagine a baseball bat might feel if you'd never played ball in your life. The masked guy steps into the room. He doesn't rush. He's calm, too calm. He thinks he's in control. I can hear Sarah crying somewhere out front. Her sobs cut through me, sharp and raw. I want to do something, anything. But I'm 19 and terrified, hiding behind a tower of meat like a coward. He takes a few steps in, then stops. "You in here?" he calls out. His voice is clearer now, young. My age, maybe younger. That makes it worse. He moves closer, boots thudding against tile. I can see his shadow on the floor as he turns toward the freezer door. I grip the mop handle tighter. My whole body's vibrating. He turns around, takes one more step. Then his phone rings. He freezes. "Yeah?" he answers, voice irritated. Pause. "No, it's fine. One more. There's someone in the back." He starts walking toward the freezer. If he opens it, he'll find me, and I'm dead. My breath comes in fast, too loud. I know it. He'll hear. Then I remember something dumb, but maybe useful. Dave kept the fire alarm key in his jacket. I saw him hang it up in the break room. If I can just get there, set it off, it might scare him. Maybe even draw someone's attention. But that means leaving this spot, moving fast, drawing attention. It's a gamble, but right now, everything is. The second he turns toward the freezer, I move. I bolt. The mop clatters to the floor as I slide, past the fryer and into the break room, nearly knocking over a tray of half-wrapped burgers. Behind me, I hear him shout, "Hey!" I grab Dave's jacket off the hook, digging through the pockets until my fingers close around the plastic fire alarm key. Gunshots crack behind me, pop, pop, but miss. One hits the soda machine. Cola explodes across the wall. I shove the key into the alarm box by the back hallway. Twist. Wee-oh! Wee-oh! The alarm screams to life. Lights flash red. The entire store fills with chaos. Out front, Sarah lets out a cry of hope. I hear the guy curse. I duck under the counter, heart pounding. Outside, I see headlights. Someone must have seen the alarm, or heard the shots. A car screeches into the parking lot. The guy panics. He runs, doesn't check the back, doesn't finish it, just books it through the front door and into the night. Sirens wail in the distance. It's over. But I don't feel relief. I feel numb. The cops come, take statements, ask me the same questions 5 different ways. I tell them about the alarm, the shots, the call he took. Sarah's parents show up crying. She doesn't let go of her mom for hours. Me, they call my dad. He doesn't show, just tells them to let me walk home. I stay until 2 a.m. scrubbing blood off tile. No one tells me not to. I just do it because it's easier than thinking. Corporate sends a rep the next day. Gives me a gift card and a pat on the back. Tells me I reacted with courage. Dave gets a plaque on the wall. Sarah quits. I don't blame her. They bump me to full-time. It's not a reward. It's because no one else wants the shift. Some nights I hear the shots in my sleep. I still work here. Still mop the same floor. Same hum of fluorescent lights. Same broken ice cream machine. But now, every time that door swings open after dark, I gripped the mop just a little tighter, because once you've seen death behind the counter, you never stop looking for it. You don't grow up dreaming of working at a 24-hour McDonald's in the middle of nowhere. I sure as hell didn't. But life has a way of burying you in choices you never wanted to make. I'm Marcus Carter, 24, college dropout, full-time fry, cook. A year ago, I was studying graphic design at a community college in Lincoln. Then Mom got diagnosed. Stage 3. Chemo wasn't just brutal on her, it wiped us out financially. I dropped out, picked up shifts wherever I could. Now I sling nuggets and mop floors in a grease-soaked hellscape on the edge of I-80, the McDonald's I work at. It should have been condemned years ago. The ceiling tiles are stained brown. The ice cream machine hasn't worked since Obama was in office, and the fryers hiss even when they're off. We lose power when it rains. The dining area smells like wet cardboard and sour ketchup, and still somehow it's the best paying gig I could get in town. Jenna works nights too, usually at the register. She's sarcastic, sharp, and way too cool to be here. Probably the only reason I haven't lost my mind completely. My manager, Rick, is a chain-smoking zombie who clocks in just long enough to bark orders and disappear to do paperwork in his truck. Last week, my girlfriend told me she wanted a break. What she meant was, I'm done watching you fall apart. So here I am. Stuck. Broke. Tired. Just trying to make it through another shift without passing out or catching fire. But lately, this place has been getting weirder. The fryer turns on by itself. The drive-through headset whispers static when no cars are there. Every single night at exactly 3:15 a.m., the security camera feed glitches, just for a second. I told myself it was nothing. Bad wiring, cheap equipment, lack of sleep. That was before Jenna screamed. It happened on a Wednesday, dead quiet. Just past 2:30 a.m. I was restocking the soda machine when Jenna shouted from the back. It wasn't a scared scream, more like shocked. I ran over, slipping on a stray pickle. Found her standing, in the freezer, eyes wide, hands shaking. They moved, she said. Who? I asked dumbly. She pointed at the stack of burger boxes. Those. They were on the left. Now they're on the right. I blinked. The boxes were still stacked. Maybe shifted a little, but nothing wild. I chalked it up to her being tired. Or pranking me. We joked a lot. About how this place was cursed. About how we were probably slowly dying from grease inhalation. But her face wasn't joking. That night, after she left, I cleaned the lobby. The soda machine sputtered and shot out, half a cup of Coke on its own. The TV by the play area flickered on, black and white static despite being unplugged. And when I looked toward the ball pit, the sad, dusty thing we never let kids play in anymore, it was rustling, like something was crawling around inside. Went home at 6 a.m., took a shower, and just stood there, water running cold, heart pounding, still convinced I was imagining it. Next night, I asked Jenna if she remembered. She nodded. Said she hadn't slept, then she told me something else. It's always 3:15 when stuff happens, every night. Watch the cameras. So I did, and that's when I saw it. On the monitor, at exactly 3:15. Static, then a flicker of something tall, thin, dark, standing behind the counter, motionless. Stared at the screen for 10 minutes after that. Nothing else happened, but I didn't sleep that morning either. Friday night, Jenna didn't show. No call, no text. Just vanished. I messaged her 3 times, then called. Straight to voicemail. Rick didn't care. She probably quit, he muttered, then went outside to vape. Something in me dropped. The shift felt wrong from the jump. The fryer hissed before I even turned it on. I kept thinking I heard footsteps behind me. Every time I turned, nothing was there. At 3:10 a.m., I braced myself and pulled up the camera feed on the office monitor. Nothing. Then 3:15 hit. The screen glitched, quick, like a blink, and there it was. The figure, same as before. 7 feet tall, rail thin, no face. Just standing behind the counter like it was waiting to order something. But this time it turned, slowly, and walked off camera, toward the back room, toward me. I didn't wait. I dropped the headset, bolted out the side door, left everything behind: phone, keys, wallet. I didn't care, I just ran. The air outside felt heavier, like the darkness had weight. I didn't stop running until I hit the gas station down the road and begged the clerk to call me a cab. He looked at me like I was insane. I probably looked it. I quit the next day, didn't give notice. Just walked in during daylight, grabbed my stuff, and told Rick I was done. He rolled his eyes. "You and Jenna, man. Bunch of flakes." I asked if he'd heard from her. "Who?" "Jenna, the night cashier." He squinted. "Oh, her. Yeah, she quit too. No call, no show. Whatever." I wanted to shake him, wanted to scream, but I just walked out, tried calling her again, still nothing. Her social media, deleted, she was just gone. I Googled the store address later that night, dug through old forums, news archives, found a post from 2004. A user saying the McDonald's off I-80 had a bad history. Something about a fire, something about a kid disappearing in the play area. The post had no replies, and then it was gone, like someone didn't want it found. Don't know what happened to Jenna. I don't know what I saw that night, but I know this. Something's wrong with that McDonald's. Something that's not electrical, or sleep deprivation, or stress. Something lives there. Not a ghost. Ghosts are people. This thing wasn't. It was older, hungrier. I haven't been near that exit since. Can't even look at a McDonald's sign without flinching. Got a new job. Warehouse work. Night shift again, ironically. But the building is bright, loud, human. Sometimes I still wake up at 3:15 a.m., heart racing. I check the corners of my room. I listen, and some nights, just barely, I hear the fryer hiss, even though I'm not there, and never will be again. Before all this started, before Dante, before the curse, before the closet, I was just another burnt-out college dropout sleepwalking through a night shift in a city that never shuts up. I'm Jamie Ruiz, 22, Las Vegas local, mountain, of student debt and current drive-through operator at the worst McDonald's on the Strip. It's wedged between a pawn shop and a motel that charges by the hour. Classy. The fryer's always leaking, the AC hasn't worked since New Year's, and the night manager, Reggie, keeps threatening to fire me because I don't smile enough. I went to UNLV for 2 semesters, majoring in journalism, thinking I'd write deep stories about corruption and human struggle. Then Mom's diabetes landed her in the ICU and rent jumped $200. I dropped out, grabbed the nearest job, and boom, here I am. Slinging nuggets to drunk tourists at 2 a.m. and wondering if this is the best I'll ever do. Every night is the same until he pulls up. It's 2:12 a.m. on a Thursday when a beat-up Silverado rolls into my lane. The window comes down and there he is, Dante Vega. Tatted biceps the size of Thanksgiving turkeys. Wild, sweaty hair. A grin that could sell tickets. He orders a McFlurry. "Extra caramel," he adds, locking eyes with me like I'm a person, not a human ketchup smear. I stutter, nearly drop his change. He winks. The next night, he's back. Then again. Turns out he's an indie wrestler, Dante the Iron Grill Vega, fighting in a lucha libre league that performs in the back of a failing bingo hall off Tropicana. He brings me tickets, calls me J-Roo, and doesn't mind that. My shoes squeak or that my hair smells like fries. I thought my heart was broken beyond repair. Then he came through my window, and for the first time in years, I started hoping again. That is, until Dante collapsed in our break room, clutching, his stomach like he'd been stabbed from the inside. I thought he was having a heart attack. 1 second he was sipping his soda, waiting for me to clock out so we could hit the slot machines at Ellis Island. And the next, he was doubled over on the floor, pale and drenched in sweat. We rushed him to the ER. Tests came back clean. No ulcers, no appendicitis, no food poisoning. Maybe stress, the doctor said, and drink more water. But Dante's eyes, normally wild with energy, looked haunted, like something inside him had curled up and died. He stayed in the hospital overnight. I stayed too. Fell asleep in the chair next to him, woke up to the sound of his IV tubes tangling themselves. Not joking. They twisted into a knot while I watched. Nurses blamed me. By the time he was discharged, Dante could barely walk. "Something's wrong," he whispered. "I'm cursed." I laughed at first, but then I remembered the name his next opponent went by, El Diablo Sanchez. I thought it was just a stage thing. Red contacts, smoke machines, fake pentagrams. But apparently, the guy was really into the whole demon shtick. Word in the locker room was that he paid a witch to hex every opponent, some lucha version of Mal de Ojo. I told Reggie about it. He rolled his eyes and muttered, "You want curses? Check the walk-in freezer. That place is pure evil." Then he told me a story. Years ago, an old man, some ex-manager, claimed to bless the place every night, said he kept the spirits out. Everyone called him Padre Fry. He apparently hung out in the storage closet behind the kitchen. We joked and called it the chapel because someone left a candle of La Virgen in there, and the friar never caught fire again after that. I had nothing else to go on, so I went there, alone, after my shift. Inside, I found him. Old man, McDonald's manager shirt, silver cross around his neck, wiping down a frost machine like it was holy. He looked up. "Your boy's hexed," he said. "El Diablo pays a bruja." Then, he handed me a keychain. Ronald McDonald holding a little cross. I didn't even question it. I took it and ran. Dante was supposed to headline Sin City Slamdown. Biggest match of the year. Banners up all over town. He was going toe-to-toe with El Diablo Sanchez in a cage match surrounded by flaming neon light tubes. The kind of event that could finally get him noticed. Maybe even land him a real contract with a national promotion. But that morning, he couldn't even stand. He threw up bile, couldn't hold down water. His voice came out raspy and weak, like he'd been screaming. In a wind tunnel, I gave him the Ronald Cross keychain, told him about the old man, about the curse. He laughed, then winced in pain. "I believe you," he whispered. "Just don't let him win." So I went to the match alone. Dante didn't show. The announcers claimed it was a tragic injury, sustained during training. Fans booed. El Diablo strutted into the ring, fire shooting up behind him, and won by forfeit. People clapped. Drunk tourists cheered. But I couldn't stop staring at him. His eyes locked on mine, and I swear they glowed red for a split second. I ran out before the end. Back to McDonald's. The chapel was empty. No candle, no mop, no scent of fryer grease. Just cold air and a half-eaten Happy Meal on the floor. No one had seen an old man come in. No one even remembered Padre Fry. Reggie shrugged. "That closet's been locked for months. Health code." The keychain burned in my pocket like it wanted to be remembered. Dante never went back to the ring. 2 weeks later, he texted me, "Come over, we need to talk." He was already packing. "I'm done," he said. "Sanchez can have his curses. I'm not giving him my soul." So we left. I quit McDonald's. Reggie didn't even look up from his vape pen. Dante sold the truck. We pooled our savings, took what little we had, and moved to Reno. Started a food truck. Called it the Iron McFlurry. Served late-night burgers, fries, and caramel milkshakes with churro bits. People loved it. They still do. We're not rich. Not even close. But we're free. The twins were born last May. Mira and Mateo. Loud, hungry, and beautiful. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if Dante had stepped into that ring, or if I hadn't listened to the old man, or if the curse had stuck to me instead, but mostly I just try to live, run the truck, feed the babies, love my man. Still, sometimes, when I'm cleaning the fryer at 3 a.m., the lights flicker, Just once. And in the reflection on the metal, I swear, just for a second, I see him, the old man in the McDonald's hat winking. I used to want to be a doctor. I made it 2.5 years into med school before the panic attacks got so bad I couldn't walk into a hospital without shaking. My hands would cramp, my chest would tighten. During rounds, I threw up in a mop sink and passed out in a supply closet. The dean said I needed to take an extended leave. That's Ivy League code for, "You're done here, kid." Now I'm 28, living in my stepbrother's garage, working overnights at a McDonald's that smells like burnt oil and bleach. The regulars call it the graveyard shift. Employees whisper that it's cursed. I laughed the first time I heard that. Now, I'm not so sure. We're the kind of place where the ice cream machine turns on by itself at 3:07 a.m. sharp. Where the security footage glitches, always right around the play place. Where customers sometimes walk into the bathroom and don't come out. Not right away, at least. I don't ask questions anymore. I mop, I restock sauces, I refill the Sprite, and I try not to make eye contact with the shadow that sometimes crouches behind the deep fryer. Then there's Tanya, drive-through operator, mid-30s, hair like black silk, voice low like a vinyl record. Her name tag's worn down to T. No one knows where she lives. She never eats. But somehow, she knows things. One night, a trucker came in, coughing into a napkin. Tanya glanced at his coffee and whispered, "Too much cream, like his mother used to make." 10 minutes later, he collapsed by the condiments. Another time, a teen couple laughed their way through a 20-piece nugget, and Tanya said, "They won't finish." I thought she meant the nuggets. That night I saw their wreck on the news. It's not just coincidence. I'm a man of science, or I used to be, but I can't explain what Tanya sees. All I know is, every night when the lights flicker and the fryer hums, I listen when she talks because sometimes her whispers come true. At first I tried to brush it off. Sleep deprivation, overactive imagination, trauma from med school. I had excuses lined up like drive-through orders. But Tanya's predictions weren't vague. They were specific, detailed, timed. One night, I caught her staring at the security monitor. The dining room was empty, no customers, no staff. But she murmured, "Booth 5 is sad tonight." I looked, nothing there. 5 minutes later, a woman walked in, face pale, mascara running. She sat in booth 5 and silently sobbed into a filet-o-fish. Another time, Tanya stared at a Happy Meal box and said, "He'll lose a tooth tonight." I didn't even question it. The little boy screamed 5 minutes later, bit into a fry, and his front baby tooth popped right out. It wasn't just eerie, it was systematic. I started keeping a notebook in the manager's office. I logged every phrase, every timestamp, every incident. Tanya knew when the fryer would short, when the freezer would blow a fuse, when a cop would pull into the lot and find a body in a car parked too long. I asked her about it once. Just once. "Are you psychic or something?" I asked. She looked up from her headset, eyes dark and far away. "No," she said. "I just pay attention." That was the end of that. Reggie, our crusty morning supervisor, thought she was nuts. Said she used to be a nurse until something broke her. Said she'd snapped after losing a kid on the table. I heard another version from Amber on Fries, that Tanya died in the McDonald's fire back in '98 and just never left. Both felt wrong. Tanya wasn't broken. She was waiting, like someone who knew too much and had nowhere else to go. Then came the girl in the unicorn shirt. That was the night everything changed. It was a Tuesday. Quiet. Too quiet. A mom walked in holding her daughter's hand. The kid wore a pink unicorn hoodie, sparkly leggings, and lit-up sneakers. Happy, chatty. They sat in booth 7. Tanya froze, mid-sentence. Her lips barely moved when she whispered, "She'll choke." I laughed, dry and nervous. "You're kidding, right?" Tanya didn't blink. My pulse spiked. I rushed to the dining area. The mom was unwrapping a cheeseburger. The girl giggled and dipped a fry in ketchup. Then it happened. A sharp cough, a panicked look. Her hands flew to her throat. I reacted before thinking. Years of training kicked in. I pulled her from the booth and started the Heimlich. 1, 2, 3 thrusts, nothing. Her lips turned blue. The mom screamed. The girl collapsed in my arms. We called 911. Paramedics showed. Tried everything. CPR. Oxygen. She died in the parking lot. Just like Tanya said. I went back inside, numb. Tanya was gone. Just gone. Her headset was on the counter. Her station, spotless. Her locker was still locked. I grabbed Reggie's bolt cutters and cracked it open. Empty, except for a single crumpled napkin with one word written in grease pen. See? I wanted to scream. I didn't sleep that day, or the next. By Friday, I quit. Left the key on the desk. Didn't even wait for Reggie to show. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. About her. About what she was. Somehow Tanya wasn't just seeing death, she was guiding it. It took 2 years. I saw a therapist. Worked part-time. Took community college science classes to rebuild my confidence. Eventually, I reapplied to med school. I got in. Barely. This time I finished. Now I work ER shifts at a city hospital. Real long hours. Blood. Screaming. Hope. Loss. It's hard, but it's honest. But Tanya never left me. Every time a kid crashes through the doors with a seizure, I think of the unicorn girl. Every time a patient gasps, I hear Tanya's whisper. I started writing again. Not just logs, but stories. Case notes. Deaths I couldn't prevent. Deaths I maybe could. I keep the napkin in my locker. See? I still don't know if it was a warning or a lesson. Then, during a double shift on Christmas Eve, I walked into the cafeteria, and there she was. Tanya, hair a little longer, same far-off eyes, sitting across from an old man in a hospital gown. She smiled, slid a tray toward him, a perfectly unwrapped McDonald's cheeseburger. I don't know what she is. An angel? A ghost? Something older? All I know is, she didn't acknowledge me. Just sat there, calm and kind, like she'd done this 100 times before. Like she belonged. The old man took a bite of the burger, smiled, cried, and then he slumped forward, peaceful. The monitors screamed down the hall. By the time I ran back, they were both gone. No one had seen her. No burger, no tray. Just an empty seat. Sometimes I wonder if Tanya still works the night shift somewhere. Someplace forgotten. Someplace glowing under flickering golden arches. And when I feel the pull of doubt, the weight of failure, I remember her final whisper. You don't. Choose what you see, only what you do about it. That's the oath I follow now, even when the fries go cold.